Hello there, and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming. Today we're going to look at the Fellhammer Siege-host in the new Chaos Space Marines Codex. Now this is the Iron Warriors detachment. So the detachment rule makes you incredibly tough to kill. And there's a good range of different types of war gear enhancements to give you slightly different types of play. There's some interesting stratagems, and there's really a good mix of durability and damage dealing, so it isn't all just about hunkering down and taking damage. And luckily, nothing is fortification themed, so you're not going to have wasted strats and enhancements. Looking at the detachment rule, it's called Iron Fortitude. What this gives you is that each time a ranged attack targets a Heretic Astartes unit, this is excluding any of the damned units. If the strength characteristic of the attack is greater than the toughest characteristic of that unit, you subtract 1 from the wound roll. So what this essentially does, when you're targeted, if the strength is higher than your toughness, it's -1 to wound. Now this is going to work really well with your standard Chaos Space Marines and your Terminators being that toughness 4 and 5, because the majority of the things that people really want to target you with are going to be, strength 5, 6 upwards with that multi-AP, multi-damage. So that inbuilt -1 to wound is going to be really helpful. Looking over the enhancements, the first one's called Bastion Plate. This is for the Chaos Lord model only, and this is excluding the new jump model. So once per battle round, when a saving throw has failed for the bearer's unit, you can change the damage characteristic to 0. So this is quite a nice little one to have if you are getting targeted and you want to hunker down onto an objective and stay there for as long as possible, being really durable. If you can have those multi-damage attacks coming in and changing them to 0, such as maybe you've got a Terminator and you get hit with a multi-melter and they roll a 4 or 5 and you just go, nope, that is 0 damage, I will remain in place, thank you very much. Next up we have Warp Tracer. This is for your Heretic Astartes model only. In your shooting phase, after the bearer is shot, you can select 1 enemy unit hit by 1 or more of those attacks. To the end of the phase, that enemy unit cannot have benefits of cover. So this is quite nice if you are targeting quite a durable unit that's getting the benefits of cover, possibly on an objective, or they're holding a part of the board where they're going to score points, such as behind enemy lines. Removing the ability for them to reduce incoming AP by 1 is very nice. So you can target this early on, put this debuff onto the unit, and then hit them with your slightly harder stuff, and maybe even your stuff that's just -1 AP, and make sure that you're pushing those shots through their armor. Then we have Ironbound Enmity. This is your Astartes model only. So each time the bearer makes an attack while within range of an objective marker, you add 1 to the wound roll. So basically, if you've got a model that's sat on an objective, trying to hold on to it, or you're trying to take an objective, you're going to get that +1 to your wound roll for both ranged and melee attacks, which is really nice to have. Then we have Iron Artifice. This is Heretic Astartes infantry model only. So the bearer's weapons have the anti-vehicle 4+ and anti-fortification 4+ abilities. Now they have snuck fortification in there, and you're going to ignore that 99.9% of the time, but that anti-vehicle 4+ is very nice to have, especially if you can sneak that onto a weapon that's got devastating wounds. Over to the stratagems. First up we have Persistent Assailants. This is a battle tactic for 1 CP, and this is during the fight phase. So this is for an Astartes unit that was selected as a target for attacks but has not yet fought. So until the end of the phase, they get to reroll hit roll, and if your unit is below half strength, they get 4 rerolls to wounds as well. So essentially, if you're targeted and they make an attacks, then when it's your turn to attack, you can use this CP, and you're getting 4 rerolls to hit. And if they have done a lot of damage to you and you're below half strength, then you get the reroll to wound as well. That nice little added bonus. Next we have Brutal Attrition. This is Epic Deed for 1 CP, and this is during the fight phase after enemy selected targets, and this is for an Astartes infantry unit only, and this is excluding damned, and this is once they have been selected as a target. So until the end of the phase, each time a melee attack is allocated to the unit, you can roll 1d6 for a maximum of 6d6. For each 4+, the attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So this is quite nice because this is not locked to just 6 in total, really. It's 6 per unit that's targeting this unit. So if you've got 3 units coming into this, such as maybe a lone character that's got 5 or 6 attacks, you are getting those 5-6 d6 against them, averaging 3-4 mortal wounds. So it's quite a nice little stratagem to have in your back pocket. Then we have Pitiless Cannonade. This is a battle tactic for 1 CP, and this is during your shooting phase. So this is for 1 Astartes unit. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in the unit makes an attack that targets a unit below half strength, you get to critically hit them on a 5+. Then we have Point Blank Destruction, a battle tactic for 1 CP, and this is during your shooting phase. So this is for 1 Heretic Astartes unit that's within engagement range of the enemy. So until the end of the phase, the unit's ranged weapons, excluding any weapons that has the blast keyword, now gain the pistol ability. So this is quite useful if you want to make sure that you're whittling down a unit without having to fall back, because you cannot fall back and shoot, so you don't want to fall back and then have other units target this unit. So this is quite nice to turn all your weapons into pistols and be able to shoot into the unit and then fight in the combat phase as well. Then we have Steadfast Determination, Strategic Ploy for 1 CP. This is when your opponent's shooting phase, and this is for Astartes units, excluding Damned only. So until the end of the phase, this unit will gain Field of Pain 5+, which is very nice to have, and really ties into how Iron Warriors should be. Then we have Siegecraft finally. This is Strategic Ploy for 1 CP, and this is the start of your opponent's charge phase. So this is for 1 Heretic Astartes unit, and until the end of the phase, each time an enemy unit selects this unit for a charge, you subtract 2 from their charge roll. But it's important to note that this does not stack with any other abilities. That's all the stratagems. As you can see, most of them are orientated to be taken in your opponent's phase, so they're quite reactive, which is quite nice. So it makes your opponent really have to think about what they're going to do, because a lot of their decisions with shooting, charging, or melee, you actually get to react to them. So it adds another aspect to their turn, which allows you to have a lot of outer phase abilities, which is quite nice. Looking at the buffs and combos for the Fellhammer Siege-host, the detachment rules probably work best with your lower to mid toughness. If you are taking a Land Raider with its toughness 12, the -1 is not really going to come into play. There's a couple of things that do have higher strength, but really you're not going to have the -1. And the same if you're taking your toughness 10, toughness 11 units, even your toughness 9, a lot of the shots coming into them, you're not really going to be getting the -1 on them unless the last cannon's done better. So really, you want to maybe go into your more lighter units, your toughness 4 and your toughness 5 with your Terminators, because that -1 is going to come into effect a lot of the time. And if it doesn't, well, you're getting wounded on 4s and 5s anyway, so it doesn't really matter overall. So it's quite good if you take a 10-man unit of Terminators, because they're really tough. And for every 10-man unit, you can have 2 Soul Reaper cannons, which is really nice. This makes them incredibly difficult to remove from an objective because you have 30 wounds sat upon it. You also get 6 Power Fists and 4 Recurse weapons within this unit. And on top of that, you do get the 8 Storm Bolters as well. So if you pair them with a Chaos Lord, which is coming in with another 6 wounds, he grants them a free use of a battle strategy per battle round, which is very nice because if you've seen, there's a lot of reactive abilities that you can use. Now, by standard, they come with a 2-up, 4-up save, and if you manage to tag into cover as well and get the benefits of cover, you're reducing incoming AP by 1, so it makes them incredibly difficult to remove because you're generally keeping to that 2 save, and if someone is coming in with your -2s and 3s, you're really going to be savings on your 3s anyway and then onto your invulnerable save, so you're always going to be activating really good saves with these guys. Then you've got the Chaos Lord, and if you give him the Bastion Plate to change the damage characteristic to 0 for a battle round, you're adding an additional amount of durability to the unit. Then you've got the Steadfast Determination strat, which gives them a Fear No Pain 5+ against the ranged attacks. So you're essentially putting them in cover on a 2-up, 4-up, ignoring -1 AP. You're changing a damage characteristic of your choice as well, not the first one, it's your choice, to 0. And you got Feel No Pain 5+. Good luck removing these guys from an objective. And then to top this off, they do actually have quite a decent threat range, especially if you include the point blank destruction stratagem, which gives them the pistol keyword, because they are coming in with their 2 Soul Reaper cannons and their 8 Storm Bolters, and the weapon that you're going to give to the Chaos Lord, either the Storm Bolter or the combi weapon, and these will be able to shoot into combat. So that's a total of 40 strength 4 shots and 8 strength 7 shots that can't be shot into engagement range. Now the 40 strength 4 shots, they don't have any AP, but if you're going into a lighter target, this is really going to whip through a lot of opponents. In melee, if you give them the Chaos Lord the Power Fist, you're coming in with 23 Power Fist attacks, strength 8 -2 AP 2 damage, and some of those are weapon skill 2. And then you've got the 16 Curse Weapon attacks at strength 5 -2 AP. And then you have the 16 Curse Weapon attacks coming in at strength 5 -2 AP 2 damage, which is quite nice. Got a very nice profile there. So on average, this is going to kill 7 to 8 Maroons in combat alone, and that's without Dark Pact. If you do take a Dark Pact and you're taking sustained hits, then you get a substantial amount of additional hits. As well as that, you then get to use the Terminate ability to re-roll hits. So instead of killing 7 to 8 Marines, you're really going to be popping off 11, 12, 13 Marines in combat alone. And then, of course, you do have your ranged shots with the point blank destruction stratagem, which is going to pop off another 3 or 4 Marines, really. So it's going to make these guys really tough to go into. You're going to set these up on the battlefield on objective, and the amount of firepower and manpower to go into these guys to remove them will be phenomenal. Your opponent's likely just going to ignore them, which is an expensive thing to ignore when you think about it, but if you can lock down an objective for the entire game, and if it is the middle of objective, that often plays into other secondary and tertiary objectives as well. So you're going to score easy points with these guys. If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to see other content. Consider supporting the channel with a membership, a YouTube membership, or pop across to Patreon, where I do some blogging and post memes and there's some STLs available. Check out these other videos, take it easy, I'll see you next time.